Welcome to the Legion Outriders podcast, a member of the Radio Free Tattooing Network.
You must unlearn what you have learned.
Your source for the latest Legion news, opinion, and analysis.
You will never find the more wretched hive of scum and villainy.
John Archiquette.
Will somebody get this big walking carpet out of my way?
Matt Turner.
I'm not afraid.
And Joshua Gray.
You will be.
What's going on, Outriders? John, Josh, and Matt coming at you from Las Vegas, Nevada at Power 9 Games. What's going on, guys?
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
So we were going into this week kind of worried about what are we going to talk about. You know, it's been about a month since we heard any kind of big news from FFG regarding any new products.
Boba Fett was the last of it,
Boba
right?
Fett was the last one.
Yeah.
That was May 11th.
Oh,
so it's been,
not that you're checking.
No, I did because I'm
Okay.
like, when was the last time we heard anything from FFG? You know, I went back and checked their site. I'm like, seeing some
Lots of
Forces of Destiny,
Legend of the Five Rings and stuff.
Yeah. So I'm like, I haven't seen anything big out of Legion for a while. Well, lo and behold, this morning at about 9 o'clock Pacific Standard Time out here, we got the big news of some upcoming releases, and it got me pretty excited.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Emplacements, weapons, big guns, yay.
Because I think we were going to go through and do like the Star Wars radio drama if we didn't have anything else to talk about. So
I was actually going to give you guys like a full critique of the holiday special. That's what I
oh,
was
nice.
going for.
I was
Yeah.
actually printing out the radio dramatization of the special, the script for that, the holiday special.
Oh, see, I
so
only
we
had
could
half the
reenact it.
equation.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
I
yeah.
could actually do the entirety of the Chewbacca family.
Can you?
Yes.
I say,
That does not surprise me.
I think he's choking. Yeah, no, that's a spot on Lumpy there or whatever.
That's Lumpy, yeah.
Yeah. Cool. I got dibs on Boba Fett then.
Well, really, in all realism, though, like, we are really happy about this. Like, this is some pretty big stuff coming out. It's gonna, I think, some stuff that could shake up the meta.
Yeah, and it's something that I think the game really needed. We were ready for heavy hitters that immobile, but there's so many cool things. We'll get into it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
sure.
this is something the game needed as area denial weapons, basically.
Yeah.
You know, there were some options that you could put in your
But
list.
we'll get into it.
Sorry. I'm so excited.
I
can't
can
help
tell.
myself.
Yeah.
I figure that's a nice change for everybody, that I'm excited. and,
Very
you know,
happy.
yeah, happy
Upbeat,
about
Josh.
something. Okay.
So we do have some other things to talk about as well, though. We've got some big Star Wars news, some good news and some
somewhat,
bad news, I guess.
Yeah, some indifferent, yeah.
So what are we looking at on that
Okay,
front?
so jumping in there. So tickets went on sale for Star Wars Celebration Chicago 2019. I was in line at 10 a.m. when they went in there. And from the time I hit buy tickets to the 45 seconds that went by, all the Jedi Master fast passes were sold out.
Well,
so I was kind of sad about
you
that.
hesitated.
No,
Jedi Master does
the
not
second
hesitate.
it went live, I hit, and it put you into a little buffer room, kind of like they do for Comic-Con tickets, if you guys are familiar with that. But, by the time, like, literally within, like, 30 seconds, they were all sold out. And these were, like, the Grandmaster Pimp VIP, passes. I was like, we were going to splurge and go do that, but...
Want.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure you can find them on, secondary market.
That's what bums me out, is knowing that there's probably going to
Yeah.
be people scalping. And
Probably
doing
double
them,
the
but,
price,
yeah,
yeah.
300 times the price.
But hey, if any of you guys have a hookup, just let me know, okay?
Right?
But there was also some issues with the hotel blocks because they went on sale an hour early, and you're supposed to get the special rates and all that. And we got into queue for that, and that took about 15 minutes for it to load up, and then we saw the blocks and all that. Okay, we found one. Like, all the ones that were really close were already sold out completely. So we're like, all right, let's find these other ones. And then sure enough, looking at the ones that were left over, there was like, oh, well, you can get like 3 of the 5 days you want. It's like,
What?
That doesn't help me at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So invariably going to each single one, and definitely other people are having this problem, obviously too. We just ended up like looking up the hotel by itself, and like, okay, we're not using the room rates to save the $10, and we got the hotel we wanted, and we're fine.
A whole $10, huh?
Yeah. It was like to save me from walking like 5 miles to get there, but.
Yeah, you might as well just spend the money.
Yeah, hopefully they'll get that sorted out. But I'm excited for the trip in like a year's time. But it's kind of nice you get to prepay it now, and then it seems like the sting of the fees and everything has
Like it's a
hopefully
free
watered away.
vacation
yeah,
later
free
on.
vacation
Yeah.
is already paid for, right? But that's going on. They also announced the San Diego Comic-Con exclusive toy for Star Wars. It's going to be like a throwback action figure pack, like the Kenner style, but it's going to be based on the Dr. Aphra comics with Dr. Aphra, BT-1, and 000.
Awesome.
Murder droids.
Yeah, I was saying, do you guys even
I have
know?
no idea
Okay.
what that is. I'm just going to
I know what
smile
they
and
are.
nod my head.
Yeah, okay. Me and Josh will knowingly
Dang.
like
Imagine,
approve.
imagine an R2 astromech, but then stick a bunch of weapons on it. Like
Yeah,
an
they take
AT-ST.
out all the tools and computation, all the stuff that makes them a good astromech,
Oh,
and
okay.
just load them up with like Gatling cannons
and rocket launchers and
yeah.
all kinds of stuff.
So
Yeah.
basically, what they tried to make R2D2 in the
evil.
later
And
movies.
then 000 is an evil protocol droid that loves
Okay.
to torture people and bleed them and do these things. But so if you can tell, Dr. Aphra is like an evil Indiana Jones, ends up working for Darth Vader for a while and stuff.
This is just a comic
Comic
book?
books,
Okay.
yes,
comic book, yeah.
I think they're doing a book series, though. I don't know. I
Yeah.
got to look into that. Interesting characters. We also now know that Barricades are shipping, and they will be in stores on the 21st of this month. So
I'll take
Barricades
5.
objectives. Really? Okay,
No.
that seems like a strong
No,
choice.
the
but-
barricades are not coming with any scenario cards, right?
No, it's just hunks of plastic.
Okay.
Yeah, that's it.
So those are only coming with the moisture evaporators?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah, the objective
As far as
pack
I know.
comes
Yeah,
with
the
the
objective
I didn't
yeah.
see any updates on those, but hopefully should be soon.
Yo, dog, we heard you like barricades.
Like I say, like
Yeah.
for those of us who bought multiple core sets just
Right.
to get as many models as you could and have just unopened, unpainted, like just packs of barricades.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course, I probably could just donate it to my friendly local gaming store.
I'm sure they would be absolutely thrilled to have you do that.
I may have to find one of those and do that.
Yeah, a friendly one at least. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're a hostile gaming store here, so
I don't like you either.
you walk around whacking people in the shins. you know.
Right?
And then, sadly, on a more somber note, I'm sure a lot of people have seen already, but actress Kelly Marie Tran, who played the role of Rose in The Last Jedi, has completely deactivated her online presence after apparently months of abuse from fans of the Star Wars property.
All right, I know you're looking at me like I'm the person who did that.
No,
Like,
I know you wouldn't do that.
Let me just clear the air on this because we joke around about your disdain for the Solo movie or aspects of it, my disdain for Rose, but when it comes down to it, like she's an actress playing a character.
Yeah.
I may not like how that character was written, but at the end of the day, like she's a person.
Yeah.
There's no reason to take your problems with your own personal life with a movie or whatever on somebody who's just completely
Doing a job.
separate from
Right.
it.
Yeah.
But if you've ever been to a Comic-Con or anything where any of these guys are sitting on a panel or doing a signing, there's a lot of people inside of sci-fi fandoms that have a really hard job separating the person playing a character from the character itself. You get in line with these guys for
Can you
autographs.
tell me that Mark Hamill does not have the Force?
No, he doesn't. But
You're
you'll
full of
see
crap.
people. I've been in line at cons, and like the guy in front of me would like walk up to Michael Dorn, who played Worf,
Sure.
right? And he's like, "When you were in that episode, and you guys did this one thing, like, how did you
no.
configure this thing to do that?" And like.
I thought that was always a joke. Is
No,
there,
it's not.
Oh,
it's
man.
absolutely not.
So
and-
Galaxy Quest confirmed. As
Right.
actual
No, it is.
historical
Actually, yeah,
documents.
it is like Galaxy Quest. I had a friend that also talked to Michael Dorn, and Michael Dorn's a private pilot. He owns like T-33 trainer jets and stuff like
That's
that.
cool.
So, second person anecdote here, third person anecdote. A friend of mine goes up and he's talking to he hears all these people talking to Michael Dorn about this and that, about why did you do this and in this episode, blah 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 blah. My friend gets up to the front of the line to get his autograph and goes, "So I hear you have a T-33." And Michael Dorn goes, "Oh God, finally a normal person."
No, that's got to be refreshing. Something I want to talk about instead of endless. So the badge you wore on your
Exactly. Yeah. So it doesn't surprise me that
Yeah.
now in this digital age that Kelly Marie Tran would literally be harassed off of all forms of social media, because it used to be the only access you had to those people was at the cons.
Yeah.
In person,
Now
through
they're
their
a,
agent,
they're a keyboard warrior stroke away. So
And I have to say that, like, from what I've seen from our listeners, our people who've been posting on our comments and everything, everyone seems fairly positive.
Yeah,
and-
absolutely.
And we haven't seen a lot of just, the trolling, but it exists.
Oh, absolutely.
And,
yeah.
we think we as a community just need to be better about just trying to get
either
rid of
as
that.
Legion, be kind. As Patton also says, well, from his late life is, life is chaos. Be kind to each other.
Yeah.
I'm sure the Legion, which is a smaller subsect of the larger Star Wars fandom, just keep that in mind. It reminds me of many years ago when R.A. Salvatore wrote basically the death of Chewie in the expanded universe. And, hey, good. I guess that's one good thing. Chewie's still alive, guys.
Yeah, he didn't have a moon dropped on his head.
Yeah,
literally.
But he, because of such, and this was still back in the 2000s or something, so I don't think Twitter was a thing then. He got so many negative interactions from fans that he just swore he'd never write another Star Wars novel after that, which is too bad because he's a very
hell of a writer.
entertaining read.
Yeah.
Whether you like what he did or not, it was part of none of these writers do anything just like, I'm just going to kill Chewie off. No, this was planned out and arced out a long time ago. But anyways, it just kind of reminds me of that. So, keep in mind, these are professionals, they're actors, they're just doing a job. And, again, John didn't really care for the role. I didn't either. But good Lord, there's plenty of other things to be actually upset about.
Sure. I mean, I'm not going to go around harassing Gungans on the streets just because I didn't like Jar Jar Binks.
I mean, what about this thing that every time one of your rebel troopers dies, it's always the Duros first? That's pretty messed up, man. Always the Duros first. Anybody that's watched our live streams can confirm that. He always goes for
Look,
that blue
it's the red
first.
eyes, okay? He's got those bright red eyes.
That's racist. Speciest.
As an Imperial player, whenever I lose a stormtrooper, the first stormtrooper to go is the left-handed one. There's a left-handed stormtrooper. You get a stormtrooper unit, and one of them is left-handed. Always the first to go.
Wow.
Always
Probably
the
because
left-handed
he's the
one.
most sinister.
Probably. Yes. I get that joke.
Good,
I know
I'm
what that
glad.
means.
Okay, cool.
Yes.
Well, before we get back into the talk about the new models we had coming out, we had a little bit of escalation play that went on last week or so.
Yeah?
Yeah, I got some games in.
Yeah, we got to talk
Do
about
tell.
this. We got to talk about this because Matt throttled me.
I would like
Wait, what?
everybody to go to my YouTube channel, Frontier Gaming at YouTube, and you can watch the community hangout we did live streamed and watch the absolute shellacking that John enjoys at my hands.
I like to refer to that game as the statistical anomaly
It
to end all
absolutely is.
statistical
No, that's why
anomalies.
it's so important that it got recorded. That I got to beat you one time. I think that's the first time in half a dozen games.
And I'm not trying to take away from your play because you played the game well. You didn't do anything stupid.
I rolled hot dice, is what I did.
You rolled some hot dice.
hot dice,
Hot
spicy dice.
And my dice were not so hot.
Yeah, the black dice were letting you down a little bit there, and you could not roll paint on a white dice
Oh, not to
save
save my life. It was terrible.
anything. It was pretty horrifying.
Yeah. So Matt,
I had a lot of fun though.
I had a blast. It was fun. It was just wow. I was like, okay, well,
Yeah, you weren't
every dog
prepared for
has his
that.
day.
You were like, okay, let's see. How long before I can table this fool? It's but that's not what happened this time, buddy.
Why don't we have a YouTube channel? Us three as the podcast?
I mean, we can,
I don't know,
but
just
I run our
curiosity.
stores one, and just because, but by virtue of being my friends and available to film, you end up on there.
That's fine.
But,
I
we
see.
could.
This is all just a ploy to increase business in your store.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm okay with that.
But
Where's
the,
my kickback?
But the escalation league. I
Well,
think
we got to sell something first to get
Ah,
kickback.
yeah.
But so far, the escalation league has been going pretty well. We've seen probably 12 players.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's I think 11 signed up with some other ones that wanted to come in, but life happens and whatnot.
Yeah.
But,
Don't I know
we're
it.
going to be running the second operation here in a week or two, and then you get a chance at the Empire side of the equation. So should be fun for the promo items and whatnot.
So we've seen a few people who have been talking about setting up their own escalation leagues within their store.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any tips for them as far as how to get the word out for it?
I mean, social media is your friend. If you can Facebook almost everybody's got at least some sort of access to Facebook, whether they don't check it regularly or not. But the Messenger system, you can add everybody in there and just send reminders.
Yeah.
We've got our little Legion chat group that we'll occasionally throw stuff up on. Setting set dates and times being clear. For this Escalation League, we tried to be as flexible as possible. We got the nights that have the most players on there, like, hey, just report in when you play one of these games. It's very. You don't want to make it too complicated for people to get involved. So that's kind of my biggest tip, is just make it as easy as possible.
Now, have you had a chance to play any Escalation games yet, Josh?
Not yet, man. Life has sucked as far as getting time.
It's all these playoff games that you're trying to watch.
Yeah.
Taking up all your...
that's part of it. But kids and stuff are away on vacation, so I have like free time. But that free time is being filled with other things than gaming. So, yeah.
There's other things?
There is, surprisingly enough.
Like flying to Canada and Italy and all these other far-off destinations.
So,
okay.
Mea culpa. I'm a bad host because, I haven't played the game in, 2 weeks. Sorry. But,
That's not good enough.
I know it's not good enough. Trust me. And it's weird because, honestly, for some reason, I'm at a point where it's just I'm having a hard time finding the motivation to get in gear. I still have 2 units of snowtroopers unpainted sitting there. I want to play them.
That I understand.
I really do. But it's, the
you
next time
just
I play,
give me the word. Next time you get a free hour or two,
yeah, man,
probably closer to
the next
2.
time.
Just let me know.
It's like I want to play, but I want to play snowtroopers. But to play snowtroopers, I got to paint them because I've got a thing. I won't put unpainted units on a board.
Well,
I
then
won't.
that's your
It's
thing,
a personal
man.
thing. Yeah, I know it's my thing, but that's a me problem. I get it, but man, I just
try with 1 unit of snowtroopers and just spray them white and the gun's black and you're done.
spray them what color?
White.
Spray them what color?
White.
Why would I do that?
Because they're snow troopers, not downtown warehouse rave troopers, which is what apparently the rest of your army apparently is.
No, he's disguising all his troopers as backup dancers for Morris Day in the Time, okay?
Oh!
That's what it is.
Oh.
Jungle.
Yeah. Yep. No. Snow troopers.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right, well, we're going to take a quick break here, and we're going to come back, and we will have all the information on the brand new heavy weapons teams.
Woo!
Tune in every Wednesday to Radio Free Tatooine, a Star Wars podcast that's better than some and worse than others. Take a trip to a water cooler far, far away as we bring some casual, fun conversation into the Star Wars podcasting community. Hosted by me, Sean, my sister Amy, and John. Radio Free Tatooine. We may not know what we're talking about, but we sure know how to record it. For more, visit RadioFreeTatooine.com, a proud member of the Radio Free Tatooine Podcast Network.
You're listening to the Legion Outriders podcast, a member of the Radio Free Tatooine Network, recorded on location at Power 9 Games. Whether you're looking for the latest releases from Legion, X-Wing, 40K, Magic, or any of our other extensive inventory of board and card games, head to power9games.com and use coupon code OUTRIDER10 to get 10% off your order. Plus, shipping is free on orders over $100. Now, back to the Outriders.
Welcome back, Outriders. John, Josh, and Matt here, and we've got all of the latest scoop on the brand new releases we saw, debut today on the FFG webpage. And like I was saying earlier, 9 o'clock Pacific time, came across my Facebook scroll, and I was like, oh. So
this was last night?
This morning.
Oh, this morning. Oh,
this
okay.
morning, yeah. So check that out, and I was like, okay, guys, what are we thinking here? Just pouring through everything, and it's a totally unique, I guess, unit compared to what we've seen so far, because the ATST it has some of the the gun emplacement feel to it, but
sure.
At the end of the day, it is a very expensive, heavily armored mobile unit.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas with these, we're seeing dedicated turrets.
Yeah.
So the first one that I saw that dropped, being a Rebel player, I got excited about, was the FD laser cannon team, and It doesn't.
Yeah.
It's got a, I guess, a unique role. So just to go out through the stats real quick here. 70 points base. It's got range 1 to 4, 5 black dice, impact 2, with fixed front. It crits for both offense and defense, and it's got 6 health.
Surges, I think.
Surge. Surge for both offense and defense. Regular hit on offense, not critical.
Yeah.
It's got a white defense die and 6 health with a 2 suppression, and it's got slots for 2 upgrades. And
Upgrades and whatever the generator
the
one is.
two special rules it has. It's got stationary, which means that you're not moving it. So once you put this thing down, it will not move.
Except pivots.
Unless you can pivot.
You can pivot, okay. And then you can also do what's called a full pivot, which
spin to win.
Basically, you can rotate any amount that you want up to 360 degrees. And it has Sentinel, which means your standby range from 1 to 3.
Which is big.
That's
I mean,
big.
That's actually really cool.
That
I like
covers
that.
a lot of. That's a lot of space.
I mean, that's 18 inches, so.
Yeah.
So the things that caught my eye immediately about this are, number one, the Rebels finally have a reliable source of impact.
Yep.
Because all we had before were ion troopers. Don't get me wrong, ion troopers are great. Love those things. But they're on, you have to exhaust them to use them.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
They're fairly expensive, and they're only impact 1.
Right.
So you're not going to be bringing down, like, if you're facing a dual ATST list,
Good luck.
Forget trying to bring them down.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
And you had you've got the laser cannon on the ATRT, but that's of limited utility outside of an anti-armor role.
Exactly, yeah. And of course, with the ATRT, you're putting on one of those, that's 85 points right there.
Right.
Where this is only 70.
Right.
And it's more effective at doing it. So if you're only using the ATRT for its gun emplacement role, this is immediately better than that.
Yeah. It's definitely an interesting choice. I really... that stationary, though, kills me. And it makes sense. So those that may not be aware, but this is the cannon that was featured on the slopes of Hoth as the AT-ATs were coming in, and it's got a very nice circular bullseye pattern for them to shoot at. So, in which, I think they show it for half a second, then it explodes. So
the model's really cool, though.
The model is super cool. I'm digging it. The fact that it doesn't have access to armor makes me a little sad because for 70 points, I don't know, man. It seems a little bit too much investment in something you might be able to just avoid completely.
Now, you say, the armor, it'd be nice if it had armor.
Yeah.
If you look in the fluff, quote unquote,
Mm-hmm.
one of the knocks against this is that it is, besides it being emplaced, it's a big target, but it's unarmored. Like, it's easy to kill.
Yeah,
that's it. That's a fluff thing that if you go back to the old guides to weapons and equipment big diagram books that they used to put out, it says right in there it's not durable. It's easy to kill. So from a fluff perspective, that's actually
that's cool.
Kind of consistent.
70 points because all I can see is. Gee, I think I'd rather just take an ATRT and just stay mobile with a rotary cannon. I mean, the Impact 2 is really nice. Like, I don't want to undersell that at all. That's super cool. But it's going to take sitting down on the table and playing with it.
Yeah. The thing I'm looking at it, too, is I don't necessarily equate it as much with the ATRT as I look at it like, okay, compare it to a full unit of Rebel Troopers, okay?
Okay, fair.
So, because it's chucking out 5 black dice, which is essentially what you would be shooting with a unit of Rebel Troopers.
With the extra man, sure.
In addition to that, you're getting, and it also has 6 health, which with a full unit of Rebel Troopers is pretty much what you'd have anyway. So they're kind of a wash in that respect. They're still roll white dice for defense, crit for defense, so same as a regular Rebel Trooper. Price point wise, 70 points, it's a little bit more expensive, but you're adding in the Impact 2 and its ability to shoot to range 4.
Yeah, since you're not moving, I guess you could just use one of your actions to dodge each turn.
You could, sure. Or you can use Leia nearby, and Leia can give it a dodge token with some of her abilities.
Which seems really funny, but I'll take it.
Because they do count as troopers.
Yeah.
So, and that's one thing we'll kind of get into a little bit later on with some of the impact of that word, but this is considered to be an emplacement trooper. So, from what we know right now, that means that some of the abilities that Luke and Leia have to give various upgrades and defense or dodge tokens to troopers, these will apply to this.
Wait, Could Leia make them do a one move with
No.
her command? No.
No. So yeah, from what I understand, unless we get some emails, because that's the
Right,
the going
That's how
thing
it
right
works.
now.
Yeah. You mean the Fantasy Flight fax system?
Yeah, exactly. Until we see an official email from Alex Davey, we won't know exactly what the ruling on that is. But I would assume this because you cannot perform moves. So
Yeah. I think,
And there's a lot of questions that come up because of that. Because, like, okay, troopers displace.
yeah,
How do you displace a unit that can't move?
I guess this doesn't displace.
I mean, but
yeah.
there's nothing on the card or in the text that covers that.
Yeah.
Suppression. When you get double your suppression, what do? You panic. You run away. Well, what do these guys do? They can't move. How do you do a range one move towards the edge of the board if you don't move?
Yeah, I would
a good
assume that the laser cannon stays in place and the guys run away. That would be
Is that what they consider it though? I mean,
well, if they were going to do that, I would say they'd probably need their own little bases. But according to the pictures they got up there, they're glued
Right.
to the base of that thing.
Yeah.
you know,
So-
and the thing with panic troops is you have the opportunity. You remove stress at the end of the round. You have other ways now with Leia or Veers to strip that stress off or stress X-wing to strip that suppression off. These guys, okay, you're suppressed. What do you do? Okay, they run away. Can they
they've gotta
rally
have
and
a-
run back to it?
Yeah, they've got to have
like-
some rule guidance
Yeah,
coming with it.
or do they just basically? I mean, they've got DH-17s. Do they just eat the pistol and they're dead? Like
All is
lost.
they panic and they just kill themselves. I mean, what are we doing here? So, as with a lot of things, it's cool, but then once you start digging into the minutia of the mechanics, you realize it's like, okay, let's get that FAQ out,
Yeah.
and quickly, I hope.
Well, we definitely don't have all the rules that are going to be coming with these guys,
Sure.
so hopefully we'll get some more information on there. But those upgrade slots you were talking about earlier,
yeah.
one of them, the barrage generator, seems really spicy.
Yeah.
And the interesting thing is both the E-Web and the laser cannon are going to be shipping with these same upgrades, so they're going to have access to these. But it's a 10-point exhaustible while performing a ranged attack with a weapon that has fixed. So, yeah, this does. Add 2 white attack dice and apply suppressive to your attack pool. And it's got that little generator icon up
God,
there.
I'd love to have that on speeder bikes.
Oh, yeah, all right.
Oh, well, yeah. Gross. So it's an exhaust for 10 points, so we're immediately up to 80 points there if you want to do that. But being able to hand out suppression tokens like candy is pretty sweet.
Especially
Yeah.
on and that's the thing with on the Imperials right now, we've only got one weapon in the game that's suppressive, and that's the mortar launcher.
Mm-hmm.
Getting that double suppression is an iffy proposition.
Okay.
Because you're throwing 3 white dice.
Yeah.
And as you know, white dice, getting paint on white dice, good luck.
Very rare.
You feel fortunate if it happens.
Right. So reliably getting 2 suppression off of the mortar launcher isn't a thing you can plan on. Throwing 5 black, 2 white dice, you're gonna get double suppression with that. Almost
For sure.
guaranteed every time you shoot it. So
A unit that's threatening snow troopers moving up the board, you're going to now go down to 1 action
right,
probably.
Exactly. So that's really strong. That's well worth the 10 points.
And having an exhaustible upgrade, it doesn't sting quite as much with this one because you're not, again, moving. So
you can use that
can
to
refresh
recover.
and then get back all your, if you took suppression and all that stuff. So
What are the other upgrade cards that come with it?
let's see. We've also got
The other one's the overcharge generator.
Oh, yeah.
So basically, you can put 1 generator on these.
Yep.
1 generator is an anti-infantry. 1 generator is an anti-armor.
Yeah,
So
so
the overcharge, 10 points, tappable again or exhaustible. While performing a ranged attack with a weapon that has fixed, add 1 black attack die and apply impact 1 to your attack pool. So now that turns this weapon into an impact 3 6 black dice.
Oh, wow.
For 80 points.
Yeah. So
Which is also does not suck.
I actually really like that now.
Right?
Yeah.
So-
I might be reconsidering this. Just pop it in the middle of the board and say, okay, ATST.
Well, pop it in the middle of the board is
Well,
is a difficult
just to give-
It needs
proposition.
to be in your deployment zone.
Right, yeah, 'cause you got to put it in your deployment zone.
So you try to maximize the lanes of fire that has, again, depending on terrain, but it threatens to put some damage out on like vehicles, ATSTs. I mean, that's no small amount.
Well, and that's kind of one of the things you need to look at when you're trying to figure out, is this worth taking, is what role is it going to fill? Like, what am I going to use it to target? Because it's not necessarily a multi-purpose, like, kill all comers kind of thing. It's not going to do much against infantry that are, within cover. It doesn't have blast or anything like that.
Oh man, that would have been nice.
It doesn't crit. It doesn't surge to a crit, but it does have the impact too. So if you're going to use it for the anti-vehicle role, you're going to want to give it that upgrade,
Right.
that overcharge. Which it seems like a kind of a no-brainer. It's like, if you're going to use it for that role, you got to take that upgrade. And you only have one slot for those upgrades, for those particular upgrades, so you need to basically choose between the barrage or overcharge.
So yeah, it ups it to from 70 to 80 points with either one of those. And I mean, if you're in for 70, I don't see 80 as that big of a ask to specialize it even further.
For sure, and especially when you're comparing it to the ATRT with a laser cannon, which is 85 points, and impact 2, I believe. So you're and not throwing nearly as many dice
With the laser cannon?
Yeah. So you're basically statistically going to be doing more damage to vehicles with this than you would for an ATRT for a cheaper price.
Yeah.
So I feel like if that's what you're using your ATRTs for, just a stationary gun emplacement role, you're better off going with one of these.
Well, at least with the ATRT, you have the option of redeploying somewhere. With these guys,
True, yes.
If they're going to use line of sight blocking to their advantage and then they're not shooting at stuff, well, take a standby and a dodge.
But I mean, it's a defensive emplacement.
Yeah.
You look at the deployment zones, and depending on how your terrain is laid out, they're out to range 4. You dump one of these right at the forward edge of any of the deployment zones, and you're going to cover a fairly large swath of the board.
Yeah.
Line of sight will be important, obviously, but God forbid you have a piece of terrain in your deployment zone that has any elevation.
Yeah.
And you put one of these on top of it.
Well, and it looks like it's got a pretty tall satellite dish. So
Right? There's that too.
I mean, as far as we're concerned,
That's a good point.
as far as we're concerned for line of sight,
That's
you're
probably
going to be
good.
shooting from the you can be aiming from the top
almost
of
like
that
a range
satellite.
Right. But if you can elevate it even more to give you more of a view of the battlefield, and then combine that with the fact that it has a reaction shot out to range 3, that's.
So modeling yours on top of a stepladder, John?
I just found a use for all those barricades you're about to buy.
Exactly.
But no, I mean, and that's the one thing that I don't think a lot of folks are really talking about is the fact that now, at least in tournament play, where you get to play some terrain and I get to play some terrain, if I'm looking over at your list and I see 2 or 3 of those on the board, I'm going to start placing things knowing notionally what deployment zones may be, because you plant the terrain before you do all of the card eliminations. I know what I brought. I know what my bid is. If I brought certain cards, well, I'm going to start placing terrain to muck up your line of sights as much as possible. And next thing you know, you might have 2 of these things stuck behind a wall the entire game. You just wasted 160 points.
Yeah, and it's something that as a Rebel player, I guess I've been very conscientious of playing against ATSTs, because I know that line of sight is going to be something that's going to be I'm going to have to use to my advantage. So I, with both armies getting these gun emplacements now, I feel like that's probably going to be something everyone's going to have to really look at.
I really hope that with these new expansions coming out, it's going to open up the door for a new operative to come out, Matt the radar technician, that comes out to service the radar dish crews.
I hear he's got an 8-pack.
Dude, that guy's shredded.
He is. Yeah. The other thing is, I think this is the first truly meta-shaking unit that's come out. Because
potentially,
I feel like Boba Fett did a lot of that too, though.
Yeah.
No, because he's just a commander hunter, essentially. He's a character hunter. This, right now you've got trooper spam. That's for all intents and purposes, that's the meta right now.
Yeah,
trooper
fair.
spam.
Sure.
Max activation, trooper spam. If I can strategically place some of these on the map, this out to range 4 with the barrage generator, well, there goes your trooper spam. Because now you're suppressed. You can't move. You're going to have to find something that's going to be able to get around the sides of these things. This makes speeder bikes a lot more valuable. Because if I can get a speeder bike around on the side of one of these things, you're not really going to shoot at me.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to shred you.
I think the trouble Rebel players are going to run into, though, is because it's in a support slot, which, 0 to 3 at 800
0 to
points?
3, yep.
So
Right.
you got to make some hard choices. You can take a maximum of 3 of these, including your ATRTs. So, like John, who loves to run his ATRTs, are you changing your list to include...
Nope.
Nope.
I'm sticking with my ATRTs because I don't run my ATRTs as gun emplacements. I don't use them as laser cannon gun emplacements. Unless the last game when I was playing against you because I was trying to keep on the defensive. But for the most part, I like to use the rotary cannon,
Yeah.
which has a different role. So,
Does it, though?
I think so.
Well, I think it's a more flexible role. But,
Yeah, it's more
yeah.
flexible because of the fact that I can still do damage to vehicles with the surge to crit.
Okay. But you don't think you'll ever see an option in your list where that might be...
I'm not going to say
super-
never. I'll never
Okay.
say never.
Well, yeah, that'd be silly.
But
That'd be silly and short-sighted, John. I'm
is there
not used to this from you.
is there something that could come out that might make me change my mind on that? Yeah, possibly.
Could it possibly be the last upgrade that is in this set?
That is one thing that
The HQ uplink.
Can we talk about just how awesome this card is
it's
for a minute?
really good. Really
as a comm slot, which
Yeah.
means it can go on bikes,
ATRTs,
ATSTs,
have it,
snow speeders,
consider that.
right?
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Okay, and since you're issuing an order to yourself, you don't have to be within command range.
Oh my
Nope.
god.
And it's in addition to all of the other orders you get to place.
Right.
Mind equals blown.
So if I've got 3 bikes and I toss out a 3-pip card with 3 order tokens, I just dropped 6 activation tokens on the board.
And the cool thing is because it's going on a fixed unit, if they give you the opportunity to we're going to have to expose ourselves for a round here. It's like, well, guess what? I'm going first next time round with these guys.
absolutely.
And I'm going to capitalize on being able to put some
Right.
more dice on you.
Yep.
Yeah. Now, again, it's an exhaustible card, so you can't do it every turn. But, and that actually, for vehicles, actually adds a really interesting wrinkle. Because I can see lots of places where taking a recover action for troops
Yeah.
is desirable. I'm stressed all to hell. Get rid of it. I've got a trooper unit within range of Darth Vader that has 9 suppression tokens on it.
Well, most of those don't have comm upgrades, though.
True.
Okay.
No, but hear me out.
Oh, no,
okay.
no, please continue.
I've got an HH-12 stormtrooper unit that
Yeah.
or an ion trooper unit that's shot the ion trooper and they're suppressed all to hell. Okay. I'm going to take a recover action here, retap my weapon, shed all of my stress, and we're back in the fight for the next turn.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right? A recover action, taking a recover action on, say, a vehicle, I mean, that's killing your action economy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because now you've got 2 actions for an ATST, and really you're using it to tap one thing. Well, 2, I guess, if you took General Weiss. But it's not very action. There's not a whole lot of action economy on a set of speeder bikes to perform a recover action. You're literally
Yeah.
performing a recover action to untap this card.
Yeah.
So, and again, with speeder bikes, compulsory move, aim, fire. That's a lot of times that's what a lot of people are doing because there's your action economy. You get a move, you get an aim, and you get a shoot. So, okay, now I'm going to do compulsory move, recover, and
No, I think you
and
stay with the
shoot.
long range comms on this one because they're the same point cost. They're both 10 points. It's just literally the only thing that changes is you have the exhaust versus the non-exhaust.
Right, but I mean,
So,
still,
yeah.
the having that on a set of bikes,
Yeah.
where hey, that may be
Or a turret with a generator that you're going to want to be refreshing anyways.
Sure.
That seems good.
But you put them on some bikes, and to have that one turn where you can drop, if I got 3 sections of bikes, I can drop 3 order tokens on there in addition to everything else that I'm doing. Because maybe, hey, I really need this bike to go, but I really need this trooper unit to go too, but I really need to play maximum firepower this
Yeah.
turn. You know,
Yeah, how many times have you gotten into that situation where you've assigned all your order tokens and you've got nothing but troopers left in the pool
Right.
and like
Yeah.
one other thing?
yeah.
Yep.
It's like, okay, I need to activate Veers,
yeah.
but he's one of the guys in here, and
But to be able
Yeah.
to do maximum firepower on Veers and put 4 order tokens on the board
Yeah, that's,
with 3 sections of bikes is strong. Is really strong.
And
Yeah.
so I was thinking like, a few of the command cards allow you to benefit units that have order tokens.
Yes.
So this allows you to expand that.
Yep.
So I believe, I think the one for Luke is the Force is my ally,
Mm-hmm.
where every time he uses that card, he gives a dodge token to any trooper unit that received an order.
Right?
Well, guess what? Say
Yeah, as far as we know,
if
that
you gave your
works,
satellite
yeah.
dish this upgrade, those troopers are going to be getting a dodge token.
dodge, duck,
because
dive,
they
dip,
are a
and
trooper.
dodge.
So yeah, I mean that's got a lot of play, and there's a lot of other things that we probably aren't even like, thinking of yet. That are
Sure.
gonna pop
That
up,
I'm
like,
sure
oh.
we'll get, hashtag tabletop simulator.
Right, yeah.
These guys are going to be, again, leading
Breaking
the front.
it wide
Or
open,
guinea
yeah.
pigs.
I'm sure it's already in the game. The module's already been updated.
Probably.
Yeah.
Somebody's modeled it and it's in the game. But man, as good as the 1.4 is, man, that eWeb is so much better.
Well, I guess since the Rebel troop or the Rebel players, we got our 5 minutes of glory before they dropped the second bit of news, and that was, like you said, the eWeb Heavy Blaster team, and this has been speculated for a while.
Yeah, I mean, this isn't a surprise that it's going to be in the game.
And this was created in the 70s, right? Or actually early 80s, the eWeb. I feel like it was created today, it'd be like the iWeb or something like that.
Okay.
So I'm glad they keep that.
And then there's the cheap knockoff, the UWeb.
Oh, man.
It's the eWeb.
What's the UWeb? I don't get
Exactly. No, it's the cheap knockoff.
that. Oh, gotcha.
Instead of
okay.
I, it's you. You see that a lot with all these cheap knockoffs of iPhones.
I prefer the Spudweb.
Now, what's that?
Wait,
I don't
seriously?
understand, or
You don't know what the Spud? You don't know Spud?
It's sports ball.
Oh, you're right. It's
sports
sports ball.
ball.
I get it. Yeah.
I did it to myself. Even I know Mr. Sputtlesworth.
All right, so just to go over the eWeb Heavy Blaster team, that is the new Imperial heavy weapons team that we saw just debut today. This one's only 55 points base, so already 15 points cheaper right off the
2
bat.
less health.
And this is the very
low.
unit that has been failing to keep starships from escaping since the 70s, so...
So it's range 1 to 3, so it's 1 less range than with the satellite dish. It's got 1 red, 2 black, and 2 white dice, because the Imperials just hate having, a
Consistency.
uniform number of dice.
Right.
It's like, no, we're going to have 1 of those and 2 of those. So 1 red, 2 black, 2 white. It is cumbersome, which means you can't move. This one you can move, though.
Yes.
So, unlike the satellite dish, you can actually move this thing. However, it's cumbersome, just like the rocket launcher, which means that you're not going to be running and shooting it in the same turn. It's also fixed front. Now, it does surge to a crit. So it doesn't have any impact, but it surges to a crit. So that's kind of huge.
Yeah.
And surges convert before dodge and cover.
Exactly. Yep.
Which for speeders and for all of that other stuff, that's big.
Yep.
That's really big. I mean, because this basically just became an anti-aerial unit.
Yep.
Because
Makes sense,
it surges before dodge and cover. So, and that's something that you got Impact 3 potentially on the 1.4 tower, but you might lose some of that beforehand before it gets a chance to convert to Impact.
Yeah, from my experience playing with my ATRTs, having that surge to a crit is huge. Because you're still getting, even without the word impact, you're still damaging vehicles straight up 25% of the time. So that's a pretty big deal. It's got red defense dice.
I love that so much, by the way.
The red defense dice? I know you do.
It makes me feel a lot better about that 4 health.
I will trade 2 health for red defense dice any day of the week.
Yeah.
Any day.
Yeah,
I don't care if it doesn't have a defensive surge. I'll take a what?
I care.
So a 4-up save.
Yeah, 4-up save as opposed to a 5-up save.
Yep.
For 2 health. I'll take those odds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and like I said, it's also cheaper, so that helps too. So it's special rules. It also has the full pivot, just like the other one, so it can pivot up to 360. Plotting. So this means that during PLODDING, not like plotting,
They're scheming their
Although
way
they're
on
probably
the
scheming
battlefield.
too. Let's be real.
Yeah,
Let's be
yeah,
real here. They're twisting their handlebar mustache underneath their helmet. During your activation, you can perform only one standard move. So no double moves. These guys just move once.
Now, standard move. If there happens to be a card condition that allows you to perform a move, that's not a standard move, is it? I mean, I think we need to figure out what a standard move is.
I would assume if I were playing you right now and we were trying to rule this on our own, I would say that a standard move is just one you do as an activation.
Does Empire have access to any of that right now?
I don't think so, but
Yeah.
I'm sure
Maybe in the future, sure.
Or also I can see some rules lawyers out there saying, "Oh, but since this does have a speed, it can displace.
Sure,
It's not
there you go.
fixed.
Yep.
Oh, your displacement was your move because you're doing a move action. You're performing a move,
And I wouldn't say
and that's not a
that's not
standard move.
But
Yeah.
again, we need to wait for the FAQ email.
We
Right.
wait for the Matt the radar
Decide this.
technician to come up with the keyword schlepping that allows them to get it one further speed one move up the board.
Oh, please make that happen. Reposition. That's another
It's
special
huge.
rule, and this one,
So
this is
huge.
big.
Yeah.
Either before or after you perform in a standard move, you may perform a free pivot action.
Right.
So that's a big
Huge.
thing, yeah.
So huge.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
And this one also has the Sentinel with standby range 1 to 3.
I think they have
Yeah.
to do that for this. If you're going to give it the fixed front and all that kind of stuff and having to worry about it like a vehicle, you got to give it a free pivot if it's only limited to one
Right.
move.
Right.
So that
And
makes
it's a
perfect
big
sense to
pivot,
me.
too.
But I mean, why didn't the Rebel one get a free pivot? I mean,
Because it doesn't move.
yeah, it doesn't move, but as an emplacement, you would think that being able to pivot is kind of inherent
Well,
to
sure, but it can
a
go
defensive
360.
weapon.
I mean,
you
then
know?
what's the point of having fixed front if you're just going to let it just like wee wee wee?
Yeah,
You know, spin
I guess
around?
that's true.
So one thing that I've noticed kind of about this card right off the bat is you can move it, but it requires you can only move it once.
Mm-hmm.
And it gives you a free pivot, which means any turn you're not going to shoot, you're essentially going to have one free activation left over.
Mm-hmm.
Which works perfect with these 2 upgrade cards that are exhaustible. So I was thinking, while we saw some good opportunities to make combos with the satellite dish with the upgrade cards, this guy's got almost an inherent ability to get rid of exhaust.
Right. True. Yes, that's
I think you
key.
just. Oh wait, can you not pop standby with these guys if they move?
Yeah, you can fire on a standby.
No. If
can fire on a standby,
If you have cumbersome, no, that was ruled. It was fixed.
Yeah,
it was ruled in the
I
last
think you're right,
email.
yeah.
So if you have cumbersome as a special rule, you cannot fire during that turn.
When was that?
It was one of the last emails that Alex
I
Davey
didn't see
sent
that
out.
Yeah,
because he sent out an See, and this is where I hate this email stuff,
Yeah.
and I think we need to have a discussion about this.
We'll save that for the next show.
Happy, positive, upbeat discussion.
But there's already been one email that said, "Why, yes, if you have a cumbersome weapon, you can shoot on a." Because we talked about
the HH-12.
Yeah, we talked about this.
I feel like fairly recently, and we'll decide this on. We'll get back to this on our page. We'll figure out what the exact ruling on this was, but I'm 99% sure that I saw.
Because this is a Missouri thing. You're gonna have to show me this.
Okay.
Because I don't. Guys, people were even talking on Facebook and stuff today. Ooh, that's gonna be really cool because you can move it, pivot it, put a name token on it from Veers, stand by it, and then blast somebody if they move within range.
3, yeah.
Okay. This is something we'll have to settle this off the show.
We'll put an asterisk there.
We'll get back to you, folks.
But either way, you've got some room to work with a free activation on turns in which you're going to move. So whether you want to do a standby if you can, or do a dodge, or
Can you dip, duck, dive also?
I already did that.
Oh,
I already did that joke.
okay.
Sorry, man.
When?
Dodge, duck, dive, dip, and dodge.
When? Like
I mean,
today?
Yeah.
I need to
It's like
stop
5
reading.
minutes ago.
Oh.
Yeah. You never listen to me.
as far as
I wouldn't
their
either. Yeah.
Who are you?
Exactly.
Yeah.
as far as their overall firepower, how do you feel about what they're throwing out there?
I mean, it's okay. And again, it's another one of those things where it's like red, black, white. Meh. Same thing with the ATSD: 2 red, 2 black, 2 white. Meh. I'd rather have 3 red, 3 black, like the airspeeder has.
Sure.
I'd rather
Sure,
you
we
pay
all
like 50 extra points for that.
Well, I mean, it has to have a generator. Like with
Yeah.
the 1/4, if you don't have a generator on it,
Yeah, this begs for a
5
generator.
black dice is still 5 black dice impact 2 is still a really respectable attack.
Yeah.
Man, throwing those 2 white dice in there, ugh. I mean, now if you're surging for a crit. So if you fish for that crit, you're going to be happy. But I almost feel like to make that usable,
Can we get some stormtroopers in there to crew it insteed so we can get the
Well, I think
precise?
that basically is.
I just want to be able to have
Sure.
reroll up to
Yeah,
3.
I got a really hard time with that. Making that effective without a generator on there. Because I've been burned by bikes too many times. You know, the difference between this and a bike is adding 1 red die.
And the impact.
Well, no. I'm just talking about die results.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
You know, I've rolled 4 blanks on 2 red, 2 black, 2 white on speeder bikes. Hell, I've had an ATST where I rolled 1 hit. Period.
Yeah.
Meh. So.
But with surging to a crit, whether it's black dice, red dice, or white dice, or red die, you're still going to be hitting that crit 25% of the time.
Sure.
Without having any keywords added into it.
I think there's something very pleasing with that upgrade, though, with the suppressive is then you got 4 white, 2 black, 1 red. It just goes down. Anyways, I don't know. I think that's the way to play it, though. Fish for the crits. Go for it. Do some aiming. And I like the fact that you can reposition with this guy to get it to hopefully a more, advantageous firing
Don't get me
position.
wrong. I love everything about this.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, and again, you're talking points. You're losing the impact, but you're getting 1 red, 2 white, 2 black for cheaper than what you would get for a DLT Stormtrooper squad.
Yeah. I mean, 55 points right off the bat. 'Cause
Right.
How much is a DLT by itself?
24, I think. I want to say
22,
24,
24,
something like that.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I mean,
my
this
cards
is
in
about
my
half the price of just that one upgrade alone. If you're taking this thing bare bones. So, I'm sorry, double the price.
Squad.
Yeah.
A squad with a DLT. It's 40 points for the naked squad.
Yeah,
and
44.
Then, 22. Oh, I'm sorry, 44, and then 22 for the or 24.
I think it's 24.
Yeah. No, it's 40 for a Stormtrooper squad, isn't it?
44.
'Cause 44
40 is for the
was
Rebels.
40 is Rebels.
Yep.
Okay.
Snowtrooper squad.
Snowtroopers are 48. Trust me, folks. We know this game.
This is why
Bring
I
your
resolved
source.
to bring my cards in with me whenever we record, and I totally forgot.
Regardless,
Yeah.
55 points is cheaper than whatever the Stormtrooper squad plus a DLT is.
Yeah.
By about 10 points, which then gives you a generator.
Mm-hmm.
The thing with this is you've got to be very, very deliberate with this.
Sure.
Because you can only move it range 1, so you're only moving it 6 inches. And then it's still a defensive weapon.
Yeah.
This isn't something you're going to be trucking all the way up the board and flanking people with or something like that.
No, but the fact that you can actually change its positioning, that you can actually move it, it still makes it
Good.
viable.
It's still
and-
good.
Ideally, you're not doing that, and it's just getting to wail away each round. But
Right.
Should the Rebels be shifty, or whoever you're playing against,
But, I mean, if you maneuver it into an alleyway, say, stick it at the end of an alleyway, put a standby token on it, and anybody that pokes their head out gets smoked. Okay, sure thing. And then if it looks like you're going to get outmaneuvered, use an action and GTFO. Get into cover.
I think that would be the dream for the UAB, much like getting a full squad with a flamethrower troop on snow.
Sure.
Is the dream.
But I mean, it's a maneuver game.
Yeah.
Ultimately, this is a game about movement.
Yeah.
Being able to move and being able to set up, read where the battle is flowing to, move one of these, stick a standby on it, and then just go to town.
Oh man, do you get the chance to park it near an objective that they're
Exactly.
Gonna take? Oh man, that's
Exactly.
great. And then you got your scout troopers dropping off bombs and all these other things going on.
I will gladly sacrifice a bike to be able to put one of these on the field and then have 30 points to sprinkle upgrades through the rest of the squad.
Sure.
Right now the meta And I know we're going to get more releases. Boba Fett's probably going to come out. Scout Troopers is probably going to come out before this comes out. But if you look at the meta right now,
Barricades are coming out before this.
Absolutely, too. Yeah.
That's going to shake up the meta.
Man, I tell you what, especially when you put them underneath your 1-4 tower there.
Yeah.
If you were to look at the meta where it stands right now, where a lot of people are trying to go max activations, 3 units of bikes, full troops, skinny troops, and then Veers.
Yeah.
Taking out a unit of bikes, putting one of these with a generator on there, and then now that allows you to put something else on your bikes. It allows you to maybe beef up one of those trooper squads a little bit more. You have options now.
Yeah.
So you're saying you're okay with dropping a unit of bikes and putting this in there because
absolutely
you're going to have to be sacrificing bike units in order to put these in there.
Right, you're sacrificing some mobility and some flanking power to be able to have something that you can then turn into an area denial weapon, to something. And Sentinel 3 is huge because it's something that. The big thing about standby right now is I can shoot the token off of you and then move.
Yeah.
Right? You don't really have the opportunity to shoot the token off of this.
Because it's range 3.
Because it's range 3.
Exactly.
Right? If I activate it first, move it up a little bit, put a standby token on it, if you're out of range, you either got to sit there or you've got to move and then eat the standby shot.
Yeah. Or flank it because it's got fixed front.
But now that's area denial.
That's a good point.
If you're trying to make a beeline to something, you've got that. You've got to alter your approach. Now here's the other thing with that. What for the Rebel Tower for the 1-4, it's DH-17s 1 and 2.
Yeah.
These guys retain the E11. So you can't necessarily flank it because if you flank it, I'm still going to get 4 white dice. I can still use that standby token. I have a range 3 bubble that I'm basically area denying.
Fair. I'm a lot less scared of those.
Of course.
But you're right. Those are things to consider.
But, I've had lucky shots before with stormtroopers and an aim token.
Yeah.
It happens.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And
here's this is a much more flexible option, especially considering the points, than the Rebel option that was announced today too.
Yeah.
And I kind of feel now for the Rebel players. I hope you feel how we feel that when Leia was only 10 points more expensive than Veers, but exponentially more useful.
Oh, I still enjoy the crap out of both of those. But
right, I'm not saying that Veers isn't useful, but for what Veers is and what you get out of your 80 points and what Leia is and what you get out of your 90 points, I think the Rebels come out way ahead.
About the comparison between Veers and Leia?
Yeah,
I think Leia's great.
No, I love Leia too, but I think Josh is maybe selling short all the aim tokens.
No. There. I mean, no, it's good. Okay. But the thing about an aim token is I can use it once. All right.
Okay. Yeah.
If I've got Leia and she drops a dodge token onto
the Rebel Troopers,
a Rebel Trooper unit sitting on an objective.
It's like if they keeps on giving.
I'm just recycling, you've got 3 units trying to shoot this guy off the objective, but guess what? I keep regenerating the dodge. Most of the units probably in cover anyways, so there's 3 hits that I auto-cancel.
Okay.
Veers only removes 1 suppression versus Leia removing 2, yada, yada, yada.
Right. Tangent.
Yeah. But back into the...
End of the day.
At the end of the day, here's another cheaper unit that's more useful than kind of a... I don't want to say... It's not a one-trick pony necessarily, but...
It's a good trick.
It's a good... that one trick is really good.
Yeah.
But... the limitations that it comes with really gives you pause.
And I think you want to see limitations from emplacement and things. But
sure.
Absolutely.
Yay or nay? Are you going to put one on your list?
eWeb?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Would you consider more?
Right now, no.
Yeah, play with the one, see how it does.
Having... flankers are huge still.
Yeah.
Having the ability to get in quick somewhere and disrupt, a flanking unit. A Rebel Trooper unit swinging wide to flank.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'm going to send 4 bikes out wide and then basically use that to roll up an entire flank. But having that area denial ability, I think, is much more useful for the Imperials than the Rebels.
I got a mission for my T-47.
Yeah.
Strafe the E-Web and hopefully.
I now have an anti-aircraft weapon to shoot it down with.
Yeah.
That's going to convert searches to crits
That should be
before
fun.
you get a chance to dodge them off with the speeder.
Well, I think for both of the models, I think their real usefulness is going to depend on what scenario you're playing. You know,
They're interesting
what
choices,
objectives,
though, yeah.
for sure. But like, what objective you're playing is going to have a huge impact on how effective these guys are. If you're expecting them to be a long range tool, and then all of a sudden somebody throws down the the harsh conditions or the one where you're basically playing with the fog of war for the first 2 turns, they're going to be basically the first 2 turns are going to be pretty much worthless.
And, hashtag needs a fact, but let's not forget the one thing that when we talk about mobility and we talk about scenario cards, the troopers.
Yeah,
Deep strike.
that's
Rapid
the
reinforcement.
big one. Yep.
Surprise! I just stuck this 1-4 in your backfield.
Yeah, and that's
and now I chose the field of fire, and now it's tearing all your stuff up.
yeah. You drop
That's
right on
big.
an objective,
Right.
And that's
Oh God, an E-Web on an objective?
Yeah.
Yeah, please.
I think that's
Let
what
me
you
do
want.
that.
Yeah.
Rapid reinforcements, an E-Web on top of a building, line of sight,
And
go to
that's-
town.
Honestly, that would be the biggest thing for me that would get me to play one of these would be if they do rule that it can be used for rapid reinforcement.
Well, I think it can be because there are cards out there that say if you have a vehicle, right? Well, there's repulsor vehicles and there's ground vehicles, right?
Yeah.
The only part of that matters is vehicle. Trooper, emplacement trooper, same to me. Rules is written, and then also the precedent already of repulsor or ground being vehicle.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
as far as I'm
there's
concerned, you can deep strike these.
Unless there's something that says you can't. It's rule of Airbud.
Right.
And a dog can play basketball.
Well, I think one other thing too that's kind of cool is we've seen with the commandos and the scout troopers, we've seen kind of like the covert offensive units. Now with this, we've seen the release of a defensive emplacement heavy weapons thing. We've already seen the vehicles kind of come out. When are we going to get the melee specialist?
I don't know.
I feel like that's the natural next
Well,
step, right?
You've got Luke Skywalker. What do you want?
Hey, and don't get me wrong, I love Luke.
I think this game needed these before it needed another trooper unit.
For sure, yeah.
Well, another infantry unit, I should say.
Yeah.
Because these are troopers. But I think it needed this to kind of shake that meta up. To make people choose, okay, here's something that's going to chew up infantry. I hope it's coming. I hope.
Yeah. They could always put an elite slot and then, give it to a cavalry unit, dewbacks and tauntauns, hashtag, cavalry. Let's see that.
Yeah.
Where does this obsession with tauntaun cavalry come from?
That has always been
where?
I think since episode 1, I've been wishing for that. So.
Tauntauns with pikes?
Yeah, man.
Is this what we're
Shock lances,
doing
let's do
now?
this.
Are we jousting? What is this now?
You can give
What's
them
with this
rifles,
obsession with tauntaun cavalry?
It's a nice warm place to sleep.
Yeah. Because they're always lukewarm.
Well, and
I got far more of a reaction than I expected. I guess you had not seen that joke before.
I have not.
Okay. Well, I'm
You're
glad
telling me that wasn't original? That wasn't a bad original?
No, that was dusted off from the interwebs. But, what's the temperature of a tauntaun? Lukewarm.
I've not heard that before.
Wow. Well, I
the
hope
upshot of that is for you to use it as a sleeping bag, it has to be dead. So, which is where all rebel units belong anyways. So.
Turns out they're marsupials, and you can ride in them like a giant. No.
I think that's.
But can they harvest calf?
Oh, well, that's okay.
That's
why
only
you need
Ewoks. Yeah, they got the lock on that with the Trade Federation.
Okay.
All right. Well, before we get out of here, you guys, anything you want to add at all?
I think you're scheduled for a game tomorrow with Daniel, right?
Yeah, Daniel and I are going to get our rematch in. So.
Yeah, I think we're going to be trying to do our Friday night live stream hangout. So.
Well, that's tomorrow, right? Friday night.
That's tomorrow.
Friday night.
Yeah,
sorry,
yeah,
yes, we're Wednesdays right now.
Yeah,
but we are.
early.
It's Wednesday right now because I'm scheduled for a game of an entirely different sort this week. So
you better not jinx him.
I'll try not to, man.
Yeah.
I'll try not to.
Make sure and paint your face and do all that fun stuff.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
It'll be fun.
All right, guys. Thanks for listening. We'll check you out next week. All right, folks, that's our show for this week. Just want to remind you that the Legion Outrider podcast is brought to you by the Radio Free Tatooine Network, a podcast network that's better than some and worse than others. To see the full lineup of shows, head to radiofreetatooine.com. See you next week, Outriders.
You've been listening to the Legion Outriders podcast, a member of the Radio Free Tatooine Network.
Only now, at the end, do you understand?
For more from the Outriders, make sure you like us on Twitter at Legion Outriders, subscribe to our Facebook page at facebook.com/Legion Outriders, and make sure you like and subscribe to the podcast. Thanks for listening.
You're all clear, kid. Now let's blow this thing and go home.